Thought I knew a lot about guns, and I very quickly figured out that I was a novice in firearms. So when I was growing up, guns were always part of our family, and we shot guns. We'd go hunting, camping, fishing, a lot of outdoor activities, and guns were always a part of that. So my dad actually ran a sporting goods store, which later turned into a chain of pawn shops that specialized in used firearms. So I was around guns a lot. I actually went to work with him and run one of his stores as I got older, and I acquired quite an avid collection of firearms. So I knew a lot about guns, primarily your Winchesters, Brownings, Remingtons. So anyway, we had guns in our house all the time. I thought it was normal to have guns in your living room closet. I remember one time my mom going off on a rant because she sucked up a .22 shell in her vacuum and it went off. And my dad had to appear like he was mad, but we all laughed. So in my world, I was a gun guy. Going to school, the kids that I hung around with didn't really have guns in their house. I didn't know about them, so I felt very confident in my knowledge and use of firearms. And then I knew Nick, and he would talk about guns a little bit, and I would kind of snicker sometimes because I know guns and you probably don't. Later on, Nick brought me on board to Desert Tech, and I thought, great, I can show these guys what I know about guns. Very humbling experience. So I came to Desert Tech, and I thought I knew a lot about guns, and I very quickly figured out that I was a novice in firearms. It was just amazing to me, the people that worked here and their skill set, their knowledge, their passion that they had for guns, and it was a world that I'd never seen. I didn't know it existed. Initially, at least, I tried to, express my knowledge of guns, and was very quickly, it was seen that I didn't have that much. So, Nick, trying to be nice, he says, why don't you take a beginner's precision rifle course? And I thought, now I'm a beginner, But I could see that I needed some help. So I took the course. I go up to this course with a $10,000 Desert Tech SRS setup with a Collis scope on it. Most of the people there had a lot less of a firearms package, so they kind of looked at me like, wow, you must be good. But I was probably at the lower level of the class. After the first day of shooting and learning some of the things, I knew some of the terms, your ballistic coefficient, wind reading, turrets, MRAD versus MOA. I had heard some of these things, but they didn't really mean a lot to me because in my world, a long shot was 500 yards on a deer. And, I had made those shots, and I, again, thought I was a pretty good shot and a pretty good gun guy. I went through the course. It was very, very enlightening to me, and I enjoyed it. One of the things when I got to Desert Tech initially is talking to the people. They would go out and spend days shooting nothing but targets, and that really didn't appeal to me. When I go shooting, I want to go shoot a deer or shoot a rabbit or shoot something that's in action, and I didn't quite understand. How do you enjoy shooting at a target all day long? Getting back to this course, so after the first day of shooting, I could see what these tools that they had supplied me with could do. I went out there with a .308, started making first round hits at extended yardages, and unbeknownst to me, it was cool. It was fun. I was interested, and I could quickly see that improving my skill was going to consist of two things, knowing the basics, following those concepts, and practice. And, after that course, I spent a lot of time on the range shooting targets, and I enjoyed it. I got better at Desert Tech. I will never be the best shooter, but I gained a reputation pretty quickly of being a capable shooter, that someone you could trust and you can shoot good groups. So that's kind of where I'm at today with my newfound passion of long range precision shooting. I got my sons involved. I actually took two of my sons out to my first beginner competition with me. I'd taken them to the range a few times and showed them some of the things, and my oldest son actually beat me. So everybody teases me about that, but I'm proud of that because I'm a good teacher and I got a good kid. Again, teaching my kids and making sure that trying to get that passion within them of the firearms industry and the business. And again, this is a world that I didn't know existed before I came to work for Desert Tech. But I took all my sons out, been a couple of years ago. The first time I took them all out to a long range, 1,000-yard range, and had all my sons down to 8 years old ringing still at 1,000 yards. And that was cool. You see the sparkle in their eye, the grin on their face when they shoot 1,000 yards, and they hear that gong at 2 to 3 seconds later. And it's really exciting to see them in that with that passion. They're going to be shooters. They're going to be part of this world that I've been baptized in, I guess you could say. I'm glad I came here, and I'm glad I found this world that I didn't know existed.